Welcome, everyone. This is episode 12 of the Camera Stew podcast.
I'm Dr. Dan.
I'm Paul.
And I am Tim. This episode's guest is photographer Steve Ruegnitz. We are here at Little River Studios in Miami, Florida, where Shoot the Centerfold is having another weekend seminar. Steve Ruegnitz is an American photographer who specializes in fine art, glamour, and commercial photography. Steve grew up in Castro Valley, California. He graduated from the California Polytechnic State University with a degree in journalism in 1974 and from the Naval Postgraduate School in Monterey with a master's in Telecommunications Systems Management in 1984. Steve spent 13 years in the U.S. Army, finishing his career as a lieutenant colonel. He then spent another 28 years in the financial industry as a tech executive. Throughout his career, he has always had a passion for photography, and in recent years found opportunities to study with Cole Weston, Arny Freytag, Jarmo Pohjaniemi, David Mecey, Guido Karp, and others. All supported and encouraged him to push his work and seriously consider moving from his technology career to photography. With the support of his family and friends, he began to pursue photography full-time. Steve Ruegnitz has now built 2 studios, one outside New York, in New Jersey, and the other in Florida. Steve has also been published in various editions of Playboy in Europe.
We are recording live during the seminars. Bear with us. There is some background noise from the instructors and students. If you go to our YouTube site, you can see some of the behind the scenes while we're talking away with our guests. If you haven't attended one of Shoot the Centerfold seminars, this is a must-see event. You will receive world-class instruction from the industry's leading photographers in fashion and glamour photography.
Sponsors for this show are Lightwear, maker of the finest photography equipment cases on the planet. The choice for some of the world's top professional photographers. You can see a full range of their products on lightwearinc.com. And Foursquare, the innovative, lightweight, modular softboxes and light modifiers for use with speed lights and full-size strobe heads. The Foursquare block can be adapted to just about any speed light currently being made. Dr. Dan's highlight discs. They give a big studio strobe, a very unique and precise highlighting effect. Available exclusively at lightweardirect.com. Thanks for listening, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of Camera Stew. You look fabulous.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Yeah,
pleasure.
Thanks.
Stopping by and talking with us.
It's a great
Been looking forward
opportunity.
to it.
I have been too.
Oh,
So
that's
how many of these have you been to, Steve?
You know, I came.
Oh,
we
I
haven't
just
done it
said-
yet.
Yeah, Steve, but we got to give his full name. We got to give his full name.
Okay. Your dissertation is now in order. Please begin.
I'm Steve Ruegnitz. That's Ruegnitz.
I like it.
Yeah, I like it. Very, very good. Very
Nobody
good.
can spell it. It was a
Now we
tough
know who you are.
childhood.
Right,
yeah,
right.
I can imagine. It's Steve R., right?
Yeah, that's
Steve
right.
R.
Steve R.
Lots
That's
of
right.
names, things we won't put on the podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
So going back, as Paul was asking, how many of these have you?
I started in Shoot the Centerfold in the Fort Lauderdale one. That was the very first one.
That's when we met.
That's exactly
Yes.
when we met, and I recall it was a fluke. I looked at the advertisement and I said, gosh, look at the names on this thing. These are
Yes.
people I'd love to know. This is probably a scam. This
Yeah.
is probably
Oh, there you go.
this is probably whatever. And I recall, but you know, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, cold in New Jersey, you know,
Yeah,
Exactly.
right.
why not? Well, if nothing else, it's going to be a nice weekend.
Exactly.
And to my surprise, when I got there, the people really were who they said they were.
Yes.
This really was something, and I'm like, holy smokes! And that's where it began for me.
Yeah.
Well, and then where did you initially begin your photography? How did that connect within this?
I have to. Now we're showing age here.
Yeah, that's all right. We're all.
You know, I picked
We're in
up.
good company.
You're not the first one. No.
Yeah,
Excluding Tim, our youngin.
Yeah.
I picked up a Kodak Instamatic with a flash cube on it and shot my first nude when I was 17 years old.
Oh, my God.
And I turned 64 this August.
There you go.
So it's been a couple of days.
You've had a few of those flash cubes go off since then?
A few flash cubes go off. And I started to work my way up all through my my civilian career. I was never a professional photographer along the years, but in my military days as an Army officer, the Army was very supportive of photography as a recreational hobby.
Interesting.
And so when I was stationed in Germany, there were dark rooms that were sponsored by the military.
Excellent.
And
That's
so
very cool.
but there was no internet. There was no web.
Right.
I recall studying Peter Gowland.
Remember? I have his book. I still have his book.
What a name from the past.
How's that taking you back?
That's taking you back. Yeah,
I still have that. I was looking at the
and
other day.
I did too. He had these basically were print sheets of various people he shot. Some of them who became very famous over time. He shot them when they were nobody, and all of a sudden those images were worth something. And I even made a pilgrimage to his home one day while I was on leave in LA. Met his wife. So I studied everything I could along the way.
Right.
But I have an undergraduate degree in broadcast journalism, and so photography was a basic part of it.
Right.
But it was never it was not my concentration.
Right.
And all over the years, I always read what I could and could see what I could, but I couldn't really train with anybody. I got a little bit of a course one time with Cole Weston when I was out doing my master's degree in Monterey, California. And so, but one semester, so a little bit of formal training, but not a lot. And I just kept at it.
Right.
And I read what I could, and I experimented. And in the old days, you do a little bit of portraiture for friends and family, and you do some weddings to pay a few bills.
Yes.
But
been there, done that.
Yeah,
yes.
That certainly wasn't where my passion was.
Right.
But when you don't make any money and you have to buy the next camera, and I recall starting with a Minolta from Kmart.
I was going to say a Minolta. It had to have been a Minolta.
SRT 200. I had that one.
A Minolta from Kmart, and I actually wore it out. I got to the point where the mechanical film advancer just didn't work.
Yes.
And then I recall my first Nikon was an EL2. It was the very first kind of baby sort of automatic back in the mechanical days.
Okay.
Yes.
And worked my way up the Nikon film days until I got an F2AS, which was one of their finest mechanical bodies of all time. And all the time, but I kept trying some things, but I kept coming back to shooting women.
Yeah.
It wasn't about young women particularly. I didn't care if it was 18 or 61. It was women as an art form.
Yes.
That I just loved the passion. And so I just kept shooting.
Yeah.
And, my work got better a bit. And I've been married almost 41 years now. My wife has been through this whole journey with me. And
a very patient woman.
A very patient woman. She reminds me that I
Very
married her
patient
for her money because she had $800 in savings.
Oh, there you go. So she had the big bucks.
She had the big bucks and the paid for a car. What else did I
There you go. There you go.
Right. So
chasing the dollar.
I really was.
Yes, you were, buddy. Gold digger.
She does look back on it and say, it took a while, but it's paid off.
Yeah.
Excellent.
She feels pretty good about it.
Oh, my God.
So,
and then fast forward, here you are.
Yeah.
You just had in Playboy Venezuela, is that correct? Tell us about that.
Fast forward to today. I was published in October, 2 issues in 1 month. I've got 10 pages in Croatia, and with Stormy, who's here at the Shoot the Centerfold.
Right.
Yep.
And
Beautiful girl.
And 8 pages with Venezuela, from the same shoot here in Miami.
Fantastic.
And then we moved right on from that. We'd no sooner than done that, and
yes.
when, as you well know, when it's your first time, you're like, yeah, sure, they're going to publish it. Sure, they're going to publish it. You'll believe it when you have it. And when the magazine's in your hand, it's like, oh heavens, it actually happened.
It's real all of a sudden,
my heaven.
right? Yeah.
And then Jarmo said, we got to do some stuff for fine art. And so another model here, who's a lovely young lady, along with Stormy, is Sienna. And I was shooting. I met her to shoot the centerfold, but retained her for my own shooting. And she's with hair and makeup. She's as close to a Marilyn Monroe look-alike as you're going to see on modern form. And Jarmo said, we need to really go for this for Art Basel. And I'm like, yeah right, sure. And darn if, it wasn't in the show catalog, but in fact,
it made it into the show. It was excellent print.
It was,
it was
Jarmo
beautiful.
and I worked on that together, and it made it, you're right, it was a beautiful fine art print.
Yeah.
And so it was like, okay. And then, so that has all happened, and then I retired the 4th of March this year.
Congratulations.
From my day job after decades and decades in the a couple decades in the financial industry. And with the encouragement of wife and friends and Shoot the Centerfold, it's like, all right, Steve, enough already. It's time for you to really do this.
Yeah.
Pedal to the metal.
Yeah, it's like, all right, enough of this fooling around stuff.
Right,
Let's go for it.
Yes.
And so, here I am.
That's
just
fantastic.
Coming back here is just now seeing friends.
Yes.
Just awesome.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. I've been coming to him since very original. It's like, oh yeah, you talk on Facebook and chat
I know,
a little bit.
and
then you see him, it's like, hey, how are you?
Well,
I love it.
And I have
that.
to tell you, the support of we're not joking when we talk about the STC family. What I have found in my experience here is I met you, and in fact, I met both of you guys through this program.
Yes.
Yep.
And I have yet to find a circumstance where I've said, man, I don't know how to do this or where to go or how to even think about this, that I couldn't reach out to somebody that they're just like, oh, no, here's how you do that.
Right.
And it's just been amazing.
Yeah.
So along the way, I got to train with any number of the people. And, I've been trained with Arny at Playboy Studio West before it shut down. And Jarmo on multiple occasions, and David Mecey and others who've been come through this program and are part of the family. And it's been an amazing journey for me. And my wife has commented on my work because now she's been here since the Instamatic days, practically since the Instamatic days.
She bought you the first flash cubes.
Actually, people said, how does your wife take to doing nudes? And I said, there's a true story here. I have 2 grown daughters. And while they were dating, they would say that, to their boyfriends, there's something you need to know about my dad. There's a couple things actually you need to know about my dad.
There's a couple things to know.
He cleans
a dark secret.
He cleans his shotgun on the weekends.
One of
someone
those
chained in the basement.
He actually is. 2 things you got to know. One is he really is an Army colonel, and he really could kill you.
That's right. Yes.
And
Shotgun's behind the door.
That's right. And the second thing you need to know is that also we have naked women running around the house all the time when my dad's shooting them, and these guys don't know whether to go.
They probably think it's a prank.
Yeah, right.
Until one of them, who ultimately became a son-in-law, walked in one day in a shoot with everything out there, and he just like, do I turn my eyes? I don't know what to do here. This is awkward.
Okay. Yeah,
but
well.
the model's just going, hi. No problem. So it's been an amazing journey. It really has. So I'm really, happy to have taken that fluke.
Yes.
And I've met so many people and enjoyed it so much. And I never in a million years thought I would actually make it all the way to publication grade work.
Right.
And it isn't because any of the guys I've worked with are easy in the sense of they're tough instructors and they're demanding. They got to the top of their craft for a reason.
Correct.
Exactly.
But they're so sharing.
Yes.
That has...
Yes.
When I recall the very first one at Fort Lauderdale, I'm going, oh man, look at the lineup here. These guys have probably got the ego the size of the Grand Canyon. And, and they would have earned it. I mean, fair and square. They've got the chops to do it. And that wasn't what I found.
Yeah.
What I found was an open, honest, giving group of people who were willing to share and really willing to help. And I'm like, who knew?
I remember the first time, the first one at Fort Lauderdale, I saw Jarmo walking back and forth, and, he has this kind of Aryan kind of way about him, right? And I said, damn it, I'm just going to go up and introduce myself. And he was the nicest, warmest, charmest. Oh, hey, there he is right there. Oh, my God, I heard you talking about him. And we just hit it off. Friendship right off the bat, and he's been there 100% of the time whenever I had a question.
And that's been my experience as well. And I did many things with the Shoot the Centerfold and the programs like we are today. But then I actually found I wanted to do more. And I actually wanted to retain Jarmo and Arny and David and others for individual training. Right. And I thought, this was probably never going to happen because in those early days there wasn't an individual training program through STC.
No.
But it was just like, but you can approach them and say, hey,
ask the question.
Yes.
Ask the question is exactly right.
Yeah.
And all they can do is say no.
Yep.
And interestingly enough, all of them just kind of scratched their head and got, well, I hadn't really thought about that, but
okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so that's exactly how it happened.
Yes.
I recall walking up in that very first one to Arny and saying, I don't suppose you do individual training. And he goes, Yeah, but but not very often. I'm like, well, why? Well, it's really expensive. I said, why?
Right.
Because it was at that time. It was at Playboy Studio West. So Playboy Studio, his crew, his everything.
Oh my God! Yeah.
But he was very open to it. And fast forward, I sat down. Hensel wanted to come in and video that very first presentation. Arnie called me and said, they're going to loan us a whole stack of gear if you'll say yes to the video. I'm like, I don't care. Fine.
Oh,
Go for it. And
right.
I sat down in Studio B at Playboy Studio West for my first day of training, and the Hensel guy looked at me and said, you're sitting down in the seat that 150 centerfolds have been shot. How do you feel? Oh, thank you.
Oh, yes. No pressure. No pressure.
Now my confidence is totally gone.
Yeah.
But the seat feels warm.
Yeah. That's exactly right.
And so, it was just amazing. I'm just thrilled that and what a turn it's taken in my life.
Right.
And now that I'm stepping away from my decades as a technology executive in the financial industry, and turning my attention to this, the prospect of what's ahead.
Correct.
I don't even know.
Right.
But I'm thoroughly excited about it.
A lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
You're
hope
looking
so.
forward to a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I am. I'm happy that it doesn't have to be my living. Though, going professional and charging for stuff, that's fine. But I'm not going into it from quite that vantage point.
Right.
I mean, I'm not worrying about feeding my wife, if I
And
don't.
the kids and paying for college.
That's right.
and
That's all behind me.
Right.
the car and the gas and the insurance. And
Right. So I'm in there, but I am in it for the excellence of the work. I do want,
Right.
to build the work and to be at the top of the line. And it isn't just Playboy. I mean, I am interested in fashion and fine art and other genres of photography.
Right.
I don't think I'm ever doing kids, cats, or weddings. That's not my thing.
Yeah.
Is that the KKK?
Yeah, the kids' cats are waiting.
How was your spelling in elementary
kinda-
school? I just want to point that out.
Okay, I just thought I'd double check.
Yeah.
But this has just been an amazing experience, I have to tell you.
Oh, that's terrific.
Yeah.
Terrific.
I've said on other forums and writing that if any photographer of any skill level really has an interest in the genre and really learning this,
Right.
this is just an amazing place to start.
Yes.
I mean, you can take it as far as you want to take it. But in terms of, I have a camera, I'm not really sure what I'm doing, and I've never seen a professional lighting setup.
Right.
Hey, you can read all the books you want, but nothing like seeing it
Right. When you
set
see
up in
it,
real
it
life.
makes it real and it's
It
tangible. There's something about it, and you go, "Oh, I can do that now."
And I think that the other
Yeah.
thing too is that you can ask a question. You can't
Yes.
ask a question of the book.
Correct.
That's right.
And
That's
when the
exactly right.
instructor is there with you, like someone like Jarmo, or Rick, or
LS.
Yeah.
it's all of a sudden you've got some human tactile feedback.
Yes.
That says, "Oh yeah, I do it that because I tried it over here and it just didn't work."
Yeah.
I
It
can't
seems
tell
to
you
work
how many
right
times.
here.
That's right. When I was shooting with Jarmo, and I shot what became the Stormy centerfolds, and
Yeah.
Jarmo's like, "Grab a really wide lens with a polarizer and get down low." And he's like pushing on my arm, like down on the ground. I'm like, "Oh, you don't get that from a book."
No,
Right.
You just
no,
don't.
Right.
You don't.
And you're looking at this stuff and you're critiquing it every day, or you're shooting
Right.
tethered, and it's like,
Exactly.
oh, look at that piece of hair.
Yes.
You really, I want to go back and throw away 80% of everything I've ever shot, having now worked with these guys.
Right.
Because there's some that maybe for historic or family reasons
Right.
you want to
You
keep, but
all of a sudden realize to look for the details in the image.
exactly.
Okay,
right.
is that right? Is that right? Is her hand right?
Is
the hair right?
That's right. Oh, look at that finger.
Yes.
Oh, that little
Oh,
finger.
yeah.
What were we thinking?
I know, right?
It's
Right.
out in the West somewhere.
That's right, and I gotta be honest, Dan. When I started seeing you were published ahead of me, by a lot, and you've done a lot more than I have. And I started looking at your work, and I know something of your background, and I'm
Right.
like, wow, he nailed it. Okay,
So can
frankly,
I.
you
Well,
were
thank you.
inspiration to me.
Thank you.
To be
Thank you.
to be completely candid, and to be honest, when I was doing a shoot that didn't actually get published. I picked up the FaceTime and called Dan and said, look, I don't really know how
Yes.
to do this. And he immediately turned to help me in a way he didn't have to be fair to you.
Yeah, well, thank you.
And I still owe you for that one. And,
worries.
And that's the kind of response I've seen uniformly throughout the people I've met in this program, just really class people. And I look at you, I mean, you have a day job, not only as a photographer, but as a business owner.
Right.
And I'm a fan of your products. I use them myself.
Thank you.
But I don't always know how to use them well or to use them appropriately. But you never fail to, I call you or send you email and say, listen, I don't know, what do I got to do here? And you're always there for me.
Right.
And that's the response from you two guys is just completely typical.
Well,
of the kind of people you meet.
Yeah.
Yeah. It reflects a lot on our love for the industry.
Yes.
And a love for the people in the industry who want to know.
Yes.
Right.
There are those who want to take, but there are, so few that really want to give back these days.
Right.
And I think that's why, we're here today, is that we're,
trying
to share the love of the
we
industry.
met at Fort Lauderdale.
Exactly.
Okay, we took the same plane, the same shuttle to the hotel, same floor next to the rooms together. Not together, but side by side.
We can, this is a G-rated program.
Right. And we got to talking over the seminar, and he said, "Why don't you come by the studio?" I said, "How's this Friday sound?" It sounds great. I've been going to that studio every Friday without fail for 6 years now. At least six.
Yeah.
That's how I met Tim. Yeah, at least that.
I was hanging out at the studio on Fridays too.
I know. And I didn't care if I'm there to sweep the shop.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care if it's helping to load up or to wrap packages. I'm there.
Yeah.
And it's just I love the smell of the studio. And then Paul, we've all become great friends. And it's been terrific. It really has been.
It's a springboard. Quite frankly, I've worked in the industry for 45 years now, and it's a springboard when you have fresh eyes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And you have fresh ideas and a different way of looking at things. So your approach to going and saying, okay, what about private training? That's exactly the kind of thing that needs to happen, because sometimes when you're in your own little microcosm, you cannot see outside of the box to save you.
Yeah.
And it takes fresh eyes, fresh attitude, fresh interest to go, oh yeah, that is a good idea.
Yeah. Yes.
That would make a great image. Let's go for that. Let's try it. Well, let's build a set. Okay.
That's right. I actually have the benefit of a brand shiny new studio I got built on my house in Florida.
Oh, it looks gorgeous, ladies and gentlemen.
That I really have barely used. I was in a position to be able to do it with the support from my wife, and I'm actually building another home in New Jersey, which will have another studio on it. And I can't even wait. But I recall when I was with Alesh and Natasha in Santorini, and I was just shooting with Natasha, and Alesh said, hey, we're going to be up here. Want to come along?
Yeah.
And he's like, go up there on the top of this monastery. And I'm like, first of all, I'm not sure I would have told a model to climb up on the top of a monastery.
Right.
She's like, no, because I didn't know her well enough, and I didn't realize she was a Zumba instructor and was comfortable. I'm like, I would fall off that sucker. I don't think that's a good idea. But then it was like, look at the images and look what we were going to get out of it from a new set of eyes. I never would have done it.
Right.
Never would have done it.
Exactly. And it's so important to keep feeding the system.
Yeah.
And when you're just stuck in your own little world.
Right.
Well,
it's hard to see.
I was doing a one-on-one with Jarmo, and he said, okay, great. We had done some Playboy stuff for sure. And then he said, Steve, you really got to go into fashion. There's one Playboy, there's, hundreds of fashion outlets, and there's other things, and, you could really do this. And I'm like, you sure? I really don't know what I'm talking about with fashion.
Right.
And he says, no. So we got a model, and he got some clothes, and we got a mansion here in Miami.
Right.
And he pushed me like crazy to shoot fashion. And one of the things he wanted the model to do was to, in high heels on cement, jump in the air. And of course that requires my timing to catch it, and my timing wasn't anywhere close. And the model was a pro, and she just kept working at it, and Jarmo kept hammering on me until we got the shot.
Yeah.
But, there is no chance in the universe I would have stepped up to even thinking about that if Jarmo hadn't been at my side working with me and saying, Steve, you can do this.
Right.
You can do this.
We can get you there and expand your horizons.
Right. Yeah.
And I've always had an interest in getting to fine art, but so when he came to me and said, let's try some fine art work, knowing that I may not have had the experience at it, but wanting to.
Yes.
And Jarmo he says, people don't know that I also shoot a lot of fine art. And then wham, we went into some fine art work, and of course the image that went up in Art Basel was a result of a round with that.
Yeah. Beautiful.
And I'm just like, Yes.
Yeah.
So I feel that even as I approach 64, I'm a kid in the candy store again. Going
right.
back to it's not the age of my driver's license. It's where's my head at and how do I want to do it, and I'm just thrilled to have been able to hook out. Well, I'm through the guys that started in Fort Lauderdale, continued in Jarmo, continued to build this franchise and brand and
right.
all the things that have come. It's certainly evolved, but between the actual programs and the individual training that I now know I can get, and now the community of people, whether I'm training with them or we've just become friends.
Yep.
It's just pretty awesome. Yeah, there are turkeys in every industry.
Yeah, there are.
No, that's true.
That's a fact.
True.
But there are also some really good people, and
Yeah.
if you can connect up with the good people, it's just a great experience. So I'm thrilled to be able to do it.
Well, that's terrific. Gosh, thanks for being here. We really appreciate it. This has really been great.
Appreciate it. It was great to be able to sit down and chat with you guys. This is fun, just fun to do, to be able to talk about the subject we all love.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
We'll enjoy.
So give us your website again. Just go ahead and go through it.
www.ruegnitz, RUEGNITZ, photography.com. It'll become StevenRuegnitz.com someday, but right now it's RuegnitzPhotography.com. And then I have a photographer's page on Facebook, Ruegnitz Photography, Steven Ruegnitz Photography, or you can always just look up my name, Steven Ruegnitz, and find me and friend me, and I'll put you on the Facebook thing as well.
Sounds great.
Very
Sounds
good.
great.
Guys, it's a blast.
This has been great. Good to see you again.
Good to see you
Good to
both.
see you.
See you
Enjoy
guys.
the rest of the seminar.
Good to meet you. Yeah.
Nice to meet you. Thanks a lot.
All right. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Camera Stew with guest Steve Ruegnitz. Stay tuned for more episodes recorded at the Shoot the Centerfold seminars. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe on iTunes and on YouTube, and don't forget to share it with your friends. This episode and others are available directly on camerastew.com. If you'd like to see some of our work, you can find links to each of our sites as well as the social networks we participate in, all listed on the bio page on camerastew.com. Rating and reviewing the show is, as always, a huge help. If you have suggestions for the show or have someone you would like us to talk with, please send an email to camerastew@gmail.com. From all of us at Camera Stew, thanks for listening.